Right, this is the match in question. The people I believe are cheating are Yuumi, Faziat, and Echo. His name is Adenet. We're gonna follow Yuumi and watch what she does. Um, this is I had problems with my microphone, so this is my second time recording this. She uses 5 abilities in 6.5 minutes, which I'm not an expert, but that seems low to me. Um, there are plenty of times where she could use abilities and doesn't. Um, Also, her ability usage times well with when Echo is inactive or all his abilities are on cooldown and he's just auto attacking camps. See, at this point, like, she still hasn't used a Q, and she will not use one until like 3 minutes 30, something like that. So it's like a full 2 minutes before she actually uses her ability, her main ability. And at 6 minutes 30, she has used 3 total Qs the entire match, despite us being kind of getting pushed in and under turret. I'm going to talk about how I think they're cheating while we wait for some example. I think it's 2 people playing one account, or 2 people. See, that was the first ability. It was an E. Let's look at Echo. All his abilities are on cooldown, so he has nothing to do. So she's able to use an E while these are on cooldown. Just look at the exact second that she uses it. Right there. And yeah, Echo has no active abilities. That was just coming off cooldown. Let's see how long that takes to cool down. So yeah, he had used all his abilities, so he was able to pop over to Yuumi, cast a quick E, which he's doing like right now, and then just AFK auto attack. I'm pretty sure he has the setting enabled to where he just automatically auto attacks. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's one person controlling both Yuumi and the jungle. In this case, Echo. It's typically Yuumi and Warwick. I've seen that quite often. To the point where if I am in a game in draft and I see it's a Yuumi and Warwick, I pretty much 100% know that it's going to be a game where they're cheating and rank manipulating, and that the Yuumi won't fire abilities and we'll just lose, which is rather dispiriting. I dodge when I can a game like that. If I see like a Yuumi and Warwick jungle, it's like an automatic dodge for me, because I'd rather take the LP, the like 4 LP I lose from dodging and hopefully win the next game, than play with these rank manipulators. Yeah. All right, so that's 1 E. It was in like 2 minutes something. I'll pause the game for a moment. I noticed when I recorded this previously that the Echo uses his E when he's doing Raptors, and then the next time he uses an ability, it's also when he's doing Raptors with all his abilities on cooldown. I'll show it when it comes up, but I'm just mentioning it now. To preface what I think it is that they're doing, which is it's just two people or two champions being played by one person. All right, there's another E. He's farming his camps. All his abilities are on cooldown, so he used his last ability. He's just AFK auto attacking, which allowed him to go over to Yuumi and cast the E. And at this point, 2 minutes 49 seconds, Yuumi still hasn't used a Q, even though that was the first ability they unlocked. And he's just auto attacking. Alright, we'll hop back over. I think Yuumi uses an ability. Yeah, she just used her E again. Let me see. Yeah, it's on cooldown. So yeah, she uses it again. Like right after it comes off cooldown. Let's see. There. When echoes between camps. So he doesn't have anything active to do. That's the only time Yuumi uses abilities. And now he's just auto attacking. Alright, he did use that. At this point, I don't think Yuumi has used a single Q. Alright, she had just used it. That was the E that we mentioned before. Yeah, at this point she has not. One more E. There, that was the first Q. At 3 minutes 17 seconds. But these matches are impossible to play. It would be better if I was just solo in the lane and she was AFK, because she's basically just soaking up EXP. I'm 2v1, but without the advantage of getting extra experience, which is unfortunate. She has not bought any items. I don't know how much gold she has. I don't know the hotkey for that. I'm not going to look it up while I'm recording this video for you. So I don't know if she has gold for an item, but she has not purchased any, even though she was just at Fountain. I do want to see her point of view. I will go back Yeah, that's where she attached. I just want to make sure that I didn't miss any abilities. So all she did was attach. Yeah, as I was saying, it would be better just to not have someone in my as a support, and I could just basically play the same way, but get experience and outscale level wise my opponent. Let me watch that fight again, or that little exchange. Make sure I didn't miss her casting an ability. I don't think she did. Yeah, there's still nothing. And that would have been a great time if it was a real person to trade. I'm gonna watch and see what Echo is doing when that begins. To see if there's a reason. If Echo is playing both champs. Why they wouldn't be able to. Yeah, he's doing his wolves. He didn't have any abilities up. But I think he was more concerned with moving to the next camp. Alright. Back to this fight. So we had this little skirmish. She still doesn't use any abilities. No E, no Q. Which, if this was a real person playing the game, they would. They would use probably both of those abilities. I don't think it's bot. They did use an E there. Hold on. Let me see. I don't want to miss any. Be very thorough in examining this replay. There is an E. Let's see what Echo's doing. He's at his Raptors again. That's why I mentioned that previously. With all his abilities on cooldown. So this is like formulaic, what they're doing. It's farm all your camps when you're at your Raptors. Drop all your abilities. Go to Yuumi. Cast an E for no reason. Like, this isn't a particularly useful E. I don't need a shield here. And from other games I've played with people that do this, every Yuumi does this. They'll cast E's for no reason. They won't cast Q's. I'll look up the name of this ability. They won't cast Prowling Projectile. They cast Zoomies. And it's not for any particular reason. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it, the way they play. And it's because I'm fairly certain it's just one person playing the jungle, and they're also playing Yuumi. There. 544, I think that was her second Q. And then she throws another one out near 6 minutes 30. But let's jump to the instant she cast it. And we'll take a look at what Echo's doing. Alright. She just fired it. Echo is waiting for this camp to spawn. So he has nothing active to do. He runs here, he runs to the bush. He's still waiting for that camp to spawn. Now it spawns, he starts farming it. And Yuumi goes inactive again. Like, Yuumi in this case is just an anchor. And she doesn't use abilities. The ones she does use aren't useful. I mean, at least she landed that. Let's see. Let's see what Echo's doing when she casts that Q. Alright. It was just cast, and Echo is between camps. So he's inactive currently. Like, when he finished his last camp, all he had to do was right click over here, and he could do whatever he wants as Yuumi. Until his character actually gets there. I mean, he's resting on the assumption that he doesn't get his jungle invaded, but... They're deranking, so they don't even care if he does get invaded. So there's another one landed on Xin Zhao. And he just got to his jungle. Let's watch his pathing. I didn't watch that last time. Alright, so he's going there. Yuumi uses the Q about there on Teemo, and I get the kill. Let's watch Echo move. Again, like, very weird pathing, because he moves here, and then kind of moves that way, and then moves that way. I apologize for replaying the same thing over and over again. But I want to see... Because she fires a Q. At Xin Zhao. Right before Echo actually starts having to do anything. And now she's inactive again. There's another one. Oh, let's see. Yuumi. I'd like to see it closer to when she actually fired it. But yeah, his abilities... It's not like they've used an ability at the same time. Let's see. Go. Alright. This is the instant she used it. Echo has his Q up, but he doesn't use it for a couple seconds. Which I believe is because he is controlling Yuumi. He didn't use his Q on the camp because it was controlling Yuumi and shooting her Q. And they just used E. See what Echo is doing. Yeah, he did. See the exact instant she uses it. Again, he has his Q up, but he doesn't use it. Let's see how long his Q was up. How long he had his Q off cooldown. 1, 2, 3. See, it's off cooldown for quite a while. Which I would think is because he was controlling Yuumi. In a second I get dove, and then still no items from Yuumi. Or Echo. Neither of them have based or bought items. Everybody else on the team has. The other jungler has. The other support has. Not Echo or Yuumi. That was all the suspicious stuff from the early game. There's nothing like... It's just more of that. There are some instances where she does fight, but she's used so few abilities in the 8.5 minutes. It's hard to believe that this is an actual person playing this. That it's not a person that's trying to rank manipulate. And I've also, I think I mentioned previously, I've seen this in like 20 plus games. It's tiresome. It makes ranked not fun. It makes your game not fun. And it really needs to be addressed. I'd like some assurance that this is actually being looked at from Riot, and that they're doing something to address it, because I've reported several other accounts for this with those accounts being banned, and it keeps happening. Every time I see this in game, I'll check their match history. It's not applicable for this particular game, but typically they will have a match history where they're playing ranked together and they lose practically every game, usually every game. It's not the case for this one because Yuumi was getting banned a lot today because I think people are sick of this and they've caught on to what is happening. I've informed people to what is happening, both like in game. I've said it, talked about it in Twitch chat, plus other people I'm sure are just tired of seeing it in their games and they've caught on to what's going on. But yeah, these two did win a couple games, but they also had a few games where Yuumi was banned, so they couldn't play. They couldn't do this the same way that they normally would. And I think in those games, they actually had to play their champion in support, and then they just AFK farmed as the jungle. Yeah, as I was saying before, you'll look at the match history and it's all losses, but typically there will be some draft games. And if I would look at the draft games, at the profiles of the people they're playing with in draft, there would almost every time be another duo of Yuumis and jungles. And if I would look at their match history, the people that they played with in this draft game, they would also have a match history that is full losses of ranked games as a jungle Yuumi duo. And yeah, this is like an organized effort. It's not like a random thing. It's not just trolls. There's some group or organization that is trying to manipulate rank in your game, and they're actively throwing low ELO games. I'm not sure what the purpose of it is. What I think is that they are queuing at the same time as someone on the opposing team, and they're getting them free wins so that they can rank up. But it's hard to be sure of that. But it's definitely orchestrated. It's organized. They coordinate with one another, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense that every time I see it, they have a draft game together where they're playing with, where 4 of the 5 members of that draft game are also doing the JG Yuumi duo scheme. So yeah, these people, they know one another. They're cooperating to do this, and I hope Riot takes it seriously. It makes your game not fun. It makes ranked not fun. It makes ranked significantly harder to climb. Because like, even if you get like your 60% win rate to climb, and if you get one of these in 20 games, it's lowering that. Like, I'm not sure what my win rate is right now. Actually, I'll check it real quick. I have 55% win rate in my last 20 games after this one. I haven't played any since this one. And this was a loss. We FF. But yeah, I'd have 60% win rate potentially if it weren't for games like this. I reported one, it was either yesterday or 2 days ago. It's far too frequent. This needs to be taken care of. I assume there's something that you could implement in Vanguard that would fix this, where you can just check like how many abilities has Yuumi cast at such and such minute. That would either make this prohibitively difficult or it would make it would make it too difficult for them to actually do this, or I don't know, because at 6 minutes 30 she had only used 5 abilities. So if you set the threshold to like 6 or 7, like you must cast more than 5 abilities, or Vanguard will just shut down the game for cheating. Because I've been in games where it got shut down because Vanguard detected someone was cheating. And that should nip this in the butt, I would think. Like, if you could just implement that into Vanguard somehow. Like, if Yuumi and then implement some sort of check for number of abilities cast by like 6 minutes 30 seconds, where it has to be more than 6 or more than 7. Or at least 6. And that should solve this issue. I mean, there would be, like, there's potential that they could just cast one more ability. But at some point, it would make it prohibitively difficult. Like, I imagine real human Yuumi players cast way more abilities than 5 by the 6 minute 30 second mark. Like, I don't even know what the maximum amount of Qs you could use at that point, but it's way more than 5. It's way more than 3. You can even just make it so that the prowling projectile must be cast more than X amount of times by X minute mark. Or the game gets shut down. Especially you could have a check, or if the Yuumi is duoed with the jungle, and it only performs this if Yuumi, if there's a jungle with a Yuumi duo. And I would think that would solve the problem. I have no idea how complex that would be to implement, but it really needs to be done, because this is definitely cheating. They're definitely rank manipulating. I'm gonna skip forward. She just goes AFK in the fountain for like 50 seconds. I want to have that in the recording. And I also don't want to ramble too much. I don't want to try and keep this recording as brief as possible. But like, it would be great to get some assurance, because I've reported a number of these accounts already. A bunch have gotten banned. I believe I mentioned that I had reported one like 2 days ago, and they did get I think banned. They at least like some sort of penalty. Yeah, it makes your game not fun and impossible. And it makes it so that I just can't play. Like, another problem with this is, if these people are queuing, they just queue on repeat, so you wind up in games with them over and over. Really the only remedy is to ban Yuumi. But as a player, like, if I'm playing, the only thing I can do is ban Yuumi. See right here, she attaches. She still has bot items. So it's 11 minutes 50 seconds that she detaches and runs back to fountain. And then she just chills in fountain. Let's see. She did buy some items though. I just pinged her face because I saw she was just sitting in fountain. And then she comes back. So like 50 seconds just sitting in fountain for next to no reason. Which I guess she was waiting for Mikhail's blessing. But at this point she didn't purchase any components. Like, that, she just went straight to Mikhail's blessing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot more in the replay that you haven't seen. She doesn't really use many more abilities. The Echo AFK farms the Malzahar in the game right here. He complains about Echo just AFK farming and asks if he's going to gank or do objectives. Yeah, it's basically just a 3v5. I didn't realize Malzahar was getting beat up so hard by Zoe, but it's kind of impossible. Like, unless every lane manages to carry in spite of the jungle, it's just impossible. I've won one game like this with the Yuumi jungle duo, and it was only because Yasuo on my team went absolutely bananas and carried super hard and had like 19 or more kills. It was basically just me and him, with it mostly being him. I think our mid actually did well also, but I've played like 20 of these. That's the only one I've won. It's just, it's near impossible. I I try not to FF them because that is the point. They're trying to lose games. They're trying to D-rank. So FFing is, or not FFing, just makes it inconvenient for them. It just annoys them. I'm pretty sure they're aware of me because I type in game about them cheating and deranking and tell people to report them. So I'm pretty sure these people know my account and don't like me. It's hard to tell. But there have been games where it seems like I'll queue the next game and it'll be someone else that's also doing this. And they're just rather hostile toward you. I've had draft lobbies where they recognize me from previous games where I've told people to report them. I believe I was playing Ash at the time, and I was in a game like this, and then in a subsequent game, it might not have been the very next one, but I'm in draft and I see it's a Yuumi, and it might have been like a Warwick, to where I knew it was them cheating. And I said something. I was like, you better not be a duo. You better not be rank manipulating, something like that. Or Yuumi, you better use abilities. Like, you better actually play the game. And what, one or the other, either the jungle or support, says, is that the same Ash? Like, it was like they recognized me from the previous game. I'm not sure if it was the same account. It could have just been someone else from their network, their little group that does this. But yeah, it's really frustrating, and I hope you guys can do something about it. Like, if you could implement the Vanguard solution, that would be excellent. Because if they're just getting their games shut down when they try to do it, then they will eventually have to quit and try to come up with a new way to cheat. But yeah. I don't know if you keep records of like report history, but I've reported at least like at minimum 3 pairs of people doing this that have been banned. It's probably more. I know I've reported more. I don't know that they've all been banned. But yeah, like I said, I've played like 20 games like this. Probably even more than 20. I'm just being conservative with my estimate. I've played games with the same jungle Yuumi duos that I've had to report. Oddly enough, I've only played one against a jungle Yuumi duo, because if I play against a Yuumi, I check to see if they're duoing with the jungle, because I just hate this behavior. It's a free win for me, but I still want to report it. It like I don't want to win games that way. I have played one before where it was I played with the Yuumi jungle duo on my team, and then like a game or two later I played against them and I reported both games. It's terrible. This game, like, it, there's nothing to do about it. And to my recollection, that's the only time I've played against one. It seems it's always on my team. What I suspect is that they're queuing along with someone on the other team to rank them up. I'm assuming whatever group they have that they work with, they might just be selling accounts, like ranked up accounts that are like, I don't know, bronze, and they just queue at the same time. And if the person is on their team, or if they see the opponent that they're playing against, or that on the opposing team that they're trying to rank up, they go ahead with the game. Otherwise, they just they can dodge it because they don't care if they lose LP. I mean, and they're basically 0 LP anyway because they lose all their games. So there's no like negative penalty to dodging for them. But yeah, that's sort of my theory on what this is. I think that they are trying to rank someone up. I don't necessarily know why they would just rank people down. I don't think, as coordinated as it is, I don't think it's just like a troll network that's trying to derank their own team. I'm pretty sure that they're coordinating here. One possibility is that if they queue, it gets to ban select. They know if they see such and such champion get banned, that that's a signal that they're in the correct game with the person that they're trying to boost, and then they just throw the game, because at that point it's 3v5. They're not going to do anything. Typically they int. I've played with Yuumis where even I was on Ezreal and the Yuumi just detaches and gets itself killed. Like, the Yuumi detached, started CSing for no particular reason, and just gets itself killed. And doesn't even try to reattach. And I think they did that in that match because I was playing Ezreal, so I'm difficult to kill because I can just escape with my E, with Arcane Shift. So they got frustrated that I wasn't losing hard enough, so they just decided to int. And then the junk will also come to your lane and in. So it's worse. It would be worse than if they just disconnected. They're worse than no player. It's like having a negative player on your team that's actively contributing to the opposing team. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap that'll. I think that wraps up the replay and all the evidence for this. Thank you for reviewing my ticket and for reviewing this recording. I hope this is sufficient evidence, and if you can, please communicate to me that Riot is taking this seriously and is aware of this problem and is addressing it, because it ruins the game. It's not fun to play. It makes your rank system kind of a joke. It's it's hard to take it seriously when this is going on, or to put any stock in its meaning or value. So yeah, it's very bad for your game. But yeah, thanks for watching the replay and all the evidence of this being rank manipulation. I hope that I made a compelling case for you, and I appreciate you reviewing my ticket. I hope you have a good day. Thank you again.